The Makery Cake Company has made the next generation of cake parties. We are making videos paired with kits that you take home. We're doing lots of popular designs, and their videos actually have 2 different camera angles so you can really see what's going on. All you need from home is a few different household items like knives and forks and things, and these are appropriate for birthday parties as well as video conferencing, or you can just do them at home with your kiddos. We have lots of seasonal designs coming up, so there'll be something for everyone, so look out for those, and we're just trying to make it easy for you to have some fun. Today we're doing turkey. Turkey is our mascot. If you go on Instagram at the Makery Cake Co., you will see a little story of Turkey. And Turkey is one of the cutest little cakes that we ever made and got tons and tons of comments. Look at his little hat, blah, blah, blah. And so Turkey has been kind of a fixture at the Makery, and we couldn't bear to get rid of him after Thanksgiving. And so Turkey actually donned a disguise so that he could make it through Christmas without getting eaten. And then he needed to make it through Easter, and then he needed to make it through 4th of July. He's also had an adventure. He has gone to a bridal show as well.
Turkey causes so much mischief, and I can't wait to see what he does in your house too. First, we have to start with icing the cake.
You're going to cut this pastry bag open about the width of your thumb, or about 1 inch from the edge. Put a little bit of frosting down. I like to do kind of a C shape on my board. And then you're going to get your cake. But I like Alright, so we have a pink champagne cake, and turn it upside down. I like to turn my cakes upside down to be able to ice them nice. The bottom of the pan is going to be the nicest edge that you're going to get for your cake, which is why I like to build them bottom side up. You're going to put your dam in there. That's going to hold your filling in so that your nice raspberry filling, or whatever you so choose, doesn't leak out into the icing. You don't want a pink streak right in the middle of your cake where your icing was. So I cut that one open, a little bit less than the width of my thumb, I would say. Take it, squeeze that in. And we give you these pre-measured for your cake, so it should be almost perfect for what you're doing, for the size of the cake that you have. So, take your spatula, go around, and I mentioned this in the last video I did, but the angle of your spatula when you're moving icing needs to be curved a little bit, because if you just go flat side to side, you're just cutting through the top of the whatever it is you're trying to push around. So you need to have it curved a little bit, like a bulldozer blade has a little bit of a curve to it, so it can move with efficiency. All right, let's take all that raspberry filling off, because we're going to need this to ice our cake. All right, take the other layer of cake, and I'm going to put that guy on there. Crumbs, get out of here. Those crumbs, they will jump right into your icing if you are not careful. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do, crumb layer. I'm just going to go around and around, putting my icing in just haphazard squiggles. A little bit on top there. I'm going to use my offset spatula. Remember to move side to side. And this is a crumb layer. There is going to be crumbs in it, okay? That is why it is called a crumb layer. What this layer does is it locks all those crumbs down so that you can keep your icing on the nice layer clean and free of crumbs. So you want to get it all the way down to the bottom. I have trouble with that still to this day, getting the icing all the way down. Now you want all of the crumbs to be covered in a very, very thin coat. So if you have to, take some of the icing from one side, scrape it onto the other, and move your way around. Alright, so the smoother you make this layer, the easier it is going to be to ice this cake. Alright, I'm getting it a little bit off the board, which will also get all of those little crummies out of it. And all I'm doing is holding my spatula at a little bit of an angle and spinning the board so that it all kind of piles up like a snow shovel on your spatula. Scrape that off onto your bowl. And then I'm going to pull the edge in. So spatula is angled. Pull that edge in. Alright, and now we're going to let this puppy sit in the fridge for a few minutes to let it get cold. And then we're going to ice this cake. Alright, you little booger. Nice and cold. Crumbs are locked in there. Now we're going to put the nice layer of icing on here, okay? So, we're going to take this bag, and I guess I should do it towards the camera. Not exactly left-handed, but I don't think I'll mind. Squeeze and get you a nice layer of icing on there. Oops, excuse me. Alright, so now there are some icing tips out there that have nice big wide holes on them, and those are fantastic. They're lovely. I just don't like to wash too many dishes. I'm a little lazy that way. So I just put it in a bag and I squeeze it all out. That's just what I do. Alright, when you're using your spatula to get the nice icing on, do not dig down too deep. Do not disturb the crumb layer. It is sleeping. Just leave it alone. It's like a really angry grizzly bear. If you touch it, it's gonna wake up and like ruin your whole day. Now, you got icing all over, but it's really haphazard. It's just on there, okay? So what you need to do is start evening it out. Now, you're not making it smooth yet. You are just evening it out. You're just using your bulldozer method with your spatula, going around. Now you're gonna work on the sides, bring the icing all the way down to the bottom. Don't be like Desiree. Get it all the way down and get it even all over the cake. You're just spreading it out. Don't worry about it being smooth yet, okay? Just spreading, 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 spreading. Alright, got that. All the icing's up there. It looks good. It could be a wedding cake right now, right? I'm just kidding. Alright, so we've got it on there. It is not even. It is not beautiful. It is not where it needs to be. So, what we are going to do from here. Take the extra icing off. Now, I moved. There's this little piece of crummy icing that I took off of the crumb layer and I put it over here. Do not mix that in with the other icing that does not have crumbs. Alright, so keep the crumbs where they need to be. Now, this is a bowl scraper of sorts. We usually use just a plastic one to ice our cakes. They're a lot I guess lighter. This is probably what you have at home. Okay, this bowl scraper. This is actually used when I worked at Hardee's as the biscuit maker at 4 a.m. They use this to get all of the flour off of your table. So you scrape with this guy to get all the flour off before you go to clean it. And then this can actually be used as well to ice your cake. Okay, so here's the big trick. Now, if you have a really nice turntable, this is going to be very easy for you. If you don't have a turntable at all, this might be a little tricky for you. Okay, here's what's going to go on. You're going to take one hand around the back, the other hand around the back, and you're going to actually cross them over just a little bit. Touch down at like a 30-degree angle, okay? And then you're going to pull, and by the time your hands come back together, you have gone around that cake an entire time, okay? So now, cross over, and I am not taking much icing off anymore. I am just going around very gently, not taking much icing off. Now I'm smoothing, okay? Now I'm seeing a little bit of a little wapagus angle here. There's a little bit less icing here and a little bit more icing here. And so what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to take this icing I just took off and I am going to add it over here. And then also there's a nice little thing that you can do to make this all easier for you. I didn't know if I'd have enough icing, but I do, because we always give you enough icing. And I'm going to build, it's kind of like putting a dam on the top of this one too, but it's right on the edge. So right there, straight on top, a little bit on the sides. And it's kind of like, I guess like a castle wall. You know how the walls are at the top of the castles where your knights hide behind? That's kind of what you need right around here. Around. Ah, yes, that is looking much better. All right. So, go again. And I usually do this, 5-6 times. If it's a wedding cake, I might do it a little more until it's perfect. Birthday cakes are not quite as big of a deal, but you still want to go around until all of your bubbles are popped. I see a little bit of cake showing through there, so I'm just going to go through. And you want to add the frosting from bottom to top, not just where the cake is showing through, because chances are where the cake is showing through is just a little bit wider, just a hair, than the rest of the cake. And so you want it to have enough icing so that it covers entirely from top to bottom to account for the little bulge that you have there. All right, last time. Okay, we'll probably do it one more time after we get the top done, but still. All right, so the sides are done. Okay, see? All right, now, a little bit tricky here. You're going to be about 30-degree angle. I know most of you don't remember what a 30-degree angle is, but so this is 90 to the cake, okay? This is 90. So half of that is 45 and a little lower is 30, okay? So you're going to take it, and this is a tricky move. You're going to actually come straight across and up in the middle, okay? Now you do not want to go boom and touch the cake and then pull, because you're going to have a rounded edge. What you need to do is just go whoosh and then pull up, okay? Kind of like an airplane taking off. So you're going to catch the edge and pull up in the middle. Now you do not want to pull all the way to the other side, because you will pull it off the other side, okay? Back and back. It's kind of like an airplane taking off, and like this is your island, and if you accidentally run too long on the runway, you kind of fall into the ocean. So don't do that. Don't fall in the ocean. All right, pull. And we are almost done with the top. Whoop, whoop. All right, pull one more time. And then I have this little line here. I'm not digging it. I'm just gonna get that off. And then, as promised, I do want to go around the edge one more time, just to make sure we have a nice, clean, sharp edge as we ice this cake. Alright, that was like 3 times, sorry. Never said I was good at math. Alright. Now I'm just going to fuss with it just a little bit more. And then to clean up the board, you take your bowl scraper. I guess I should do it this way. And go around. You see the icing I'm taking off of my board. So first, perfect. The cake is cold. It's still in the fridge. All right, I'm going to leave it there while I work with fondant. Okay. Lots of people are a little bit scared of fondant, and you don't need to be. Fondant is one of those things that, I mean, it works just like Play-Doh, honestly, but it's not quite as crumbly, and it's not salty. So yeah, if you haven't tasted Play-Doh, I don't believe you. Everybody's done it. So, but it works very, very similar, and actually a lot of the tools that we use with fondant you can use with Play-Doh, and vice versa if you so choose. So basically you're gonna take your brown. Now, fondant, if you take it right out of the package and it's been sitting for a while, it just chunks, okay? So you have to work with it and kind of wake it up. And usually after I knead it for a little bit, I go over to the sheeter and roll it out. But I'm going to roll that out for you today because a lot of people have a little bit of an issue with trying to roll fondant. And so I'm just going to smash and roll, smash and roll. Very similar to what you do with bread or noodle dough. But once you get it worked a little bit, it gets softer. I'm not sure if it's the heat from your hand. I'm not sure if it's just the movement. But something happens to fondant when you've worked it for just a little bit. It gets a lot more stretchy, okay? So what I like to do is take the fondant and roll it into a bowl, okay? blah, blah, so that you have no seams on this first side, okay? No seams, okay? Put all the seams on the underside. Then you're gonna take that underside and put it flat down, and we give you a couple pieces of parchment paper. You only need one, but what happens if it breaks? So now you got two, or you can do your next cake with it. And then, so you put it down, and I like to smash it into like a little pancake. All right, and then we're going to take the parchment, pull it off the edge of the table just a little bit, and put your hip against it so that parchment doesn't run around when you push on it, okay? You're gonna take your rolling pin, and Grandma's rolling pin with the handles on it works just fine. I just use this one. So you're gonna start in the middle of the fondant. Whoops, I should probably move this, it's starting to sing. And pull it back. In the middle, and push it up. Now it's starting to get long and skinny, and our cake needs to be round. So what I'm gonna do is pick it up, and I'm gonna flip it on its kind of horizontal line here and start working it this way from the middle out. You're ultimately going to want a 14-inch round circle, okay? And the reason being, well, I guess for a 6-inch cake, if you ordered a bigger one, you'd need a bigger circle. But the theory being, it's 6 inches across the cake, 4 inches down, 4 inches down. So 8 and 6 is 14. Wait, yes, that's right, 14. Oh, y'all, I have a molecular biology degree, but oh, dang. I'm much more of a creative than anything else. All right, so now you have something that is sort of square-ish. So I'm gonna turn it kind of at an angle, so that my points are pointing this way. So when I roll forward, I'm going to get the shorter side stretching up. So in the middle, and pull. So when are you done rolling? How do you know? Well, it'll be 14 inches across, or it's about the thickness of a single piece of cardboard. So like a single wall cardboard, like a cake board. This is still way too thick. I don't know if you can see that on the thing, but it's still way too thick. And it's not quite 14 inches across. Now, 14 inches is the width of this paper. So got a little cheater there. In the middle, work your way out. You gotta put some pressure on it, especially when it gets thinner. It doesn't want to move. Another reason why you want to pick it up and flip it over is because it kind of gets in a rut. I don't know what else you would call it, but it doesn't like to move. It gets stuck down to your paper, and so picking up and flipping it over helps a lot. Now, as it gets bigger, it's a little harder to move. You see the little fingerprints I left in there? So you got to be really, really careful not to get too many fingerprints in there. Now it's a little bit wider this way than this way, so next time I flip it over, I'm going to turn it so that I get a little bit more stretch. And you see how it's trying to pull up on the edge of my rolling pin? You want to be sure you catch that before you roll all the way back, because it will put an indent in your fondant. All right, so it's almost wide enough here. Now, if it's not quite the width of the paper, when you put it on your cake, it's going to stretch a little bit, and that'll help a lot. So in the middle, work your way out, trying to make it round. It doesn't like to be round because you're going back and forth, and my brain likes everything at right angles, and so you can tell I'm making a square instead of a round because I'm not putting it, whoops, see, curled back. You got to take that puppy and lay it back down. Go back. Don't mess up my fondant. Okay, and I think it is about right. I'm gonna turn the paper. It's gonna want to run all over. Make it just a little bit wider. All right, so we've got it about where we want it. So now I'm gonna go get my cake, and we're gonna cover this puppy. Move this over. Pull this up so that you can actually see what I'm doing. Okay. All right, cake's here. It's cold. It's gonna get its brown layer of fondant on there. Okay, so we're gonna take this guy And you know how I went back and forth and back and forth? That was so that I didn't poke a hole with my fingers, just holding up all of the weight all in one spot. I like to move my hands around on the fondant so there's not pushing, pushing, pushing all in one spot. So I just go back and forth and back and forth. All right, so I'm gonna take it, put it on my hand, back and forth. And then you notice how much of my arm is covered with this fondant? That is to disperse the force so that you're not, you know, putting all the weight of the fondant all in one place. So pick it up, splay your fingers out so that they're nice and wide. I'm gonna try to center it, and I'm gonna try to put the center of that fondant down and open my hands around. Whoop, I did not do a very good job centering it back to front. So I'm gonna do it this way. All right, got it on there. And I did it so slowly because I was explaining what I was doing that I popped a hole back here. All right, so I'm gonna show you how to fix that. All right, well, we're gonna cover it up. That's what we're gonna do, actually. All right, so I start with going sort of around my edges a little bit, but there's a little bubble right here. So I'm gonna work my fingers over to get rid of that bubble. You don't want bubbles underneath your fondant because as the cake warms up, those bubbles are gonna get bigger and bigger. And it's the the gas laws in physics that you never thought you would ever have to deal with again. Yeah, PV equals nRT. Once the temperature goes up, the bubble gets bigger, gases expand. That's what's happening on your cake with your fondant. Kind of stinks. All right, so we got the top, one last little bubble. Got the top kind of smooth. Go around the very top with your fingers, because if anywhere is going to be a hole other than the one I actually put in there, it's going to be right here, right where you have this edge, because it's a little bit more sharp, I guess, and it will cut through your fondant a little more easily. So now you got all of this stuff all over, and you got all these pleats, and you got to work them out. And I better go a little bit faster. I'm going to take my ring off because rings like to leave indents. So something I learned from John, the sales rep at Cal Java, where they make sugar flowers, is you need to lay out the Belle's dress. So you just pull it out, lay it out, get it as wide as you can, and then you're going to start working from the top down a little bit. Now all of these little pleats, you pull them out as you're working. Pull them out, pull them out. Now you got a little rip here, so you got to be gentle or it's going to get bigger. Okay, so you're just going to put that on the cake. I'm going to stop and I'm just going to take care of this little guy. Pull, put. Okay, now keep going around. Now you don't want to go all the way down the first round because you will get these pleats not going anywhere. Now I'm coming back around to this rip, and I've got these two pleats that need to kind of work their way this way. So I'm going to pull them that way. Okay, pull them that way so that those little guys get worked down into that side. Pull these pleats this way, away from the rip. Now if you got a pleat that's wanting to make a crease, pull it out, push it down. And you really should probably have shorter fingernails for this project. I didn't think about that this morning. So, because those will leave little dents too. Pull it out, push it down, pull it out, push it down. Work your way around. Don't go all the way down the first or second time. Pull it out, push it down. See how I had the pleat there? Pull it out, push it down. And the faster you can work, the better this is going to be for you. But since I'm talking, I'm not working very fast. Come on, Des, get faster. Let's go. Let's do it. And then also, fondant, the darker the color, reds, dark blues, blacks, the more color that you have in your fondant, a little bit more fussy it's gonna be, because it's kind of diluting all of those stretchy items that they put in fondant to make it stretchy. Now a few of you are going, oh, I make my own out of marshmallows. Well, that's fine, absolutely. I found marshmallow fondant, getting a little elephant skin, stop and put it back together, rub, rub, rub. Oh, I just found that marshmallow fondant is a lot harder to get smooth. It stretches. Oh man, does that puppy stretch? But it just doesn't, it doesn't look as smooth. It's not as nice, I don't think. But you know, some things work for some people and others work for others. So I buy satin ice. I love satin ice. It just works so nicely for me. Works really great. Here's my really big rip. Oh, push it up, push it up, push it up. Okay, now it's never gonna go away. This one, if you get this big hole and you don't have something, we're gonna cover it with the tail feathers. But if you don't have something going on the cake that you can cover that up with, then you'll want to actually have to do this again. Now, you don't have to, I'm gonna work on this guy. You don't have to get all new fondant. You can use the same fondant. Sorry, I lost my train of thought because I was working on this little piece. So you can take it off the cake, remove as much of the frosting as you can, because remember, you're diluting all of those gums and things. And I'm just using my pinkies because my pinky is my smallest finger to go around and get it kind of sealed all the way down. If you have any little elephant skin places, work them up, get them smooth. Smooth, 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 smooth. So get them smooth by just working it back up. Work it right into where it came from. Smooth it out. All right, from here, you want to take your pizza wheel and add an angle, because you see this little bolt here? That loves to just go right into your cake as you're trying to use it. So you want to be sure you're at a 45-degree angle. And then when you cut, you want to cut not right at the edge where you think you should, out just a little bit, like a 1/4 inch maybe, because you have stretched this fondant. You have stretched it so far. What's going to happen when you don't have the weight of the rest of that fondant still on it, holding it out, is it's going to snap back, and then it's going to become too short, which is not fun. And then you have to work your way down again. Alrighty. Woo. Okay, so you take all the extra off. And you can wad this up and use it again. Just put it back in its saran wrap. You don't want to just leave it setting on the counter though, because it's going to dry out. So put it right back in its saran wrap. Alright, so now that you have all your slack off of there, and you've given it a minute to just sit, you go back and you trim it closer. And then all those bottom pleats are just going to fall right off. Okay, so got all this, guys. Ooh, that's probably loud. Sorry. Alright, take all this off. And then go back and get your fondant smoother. Now, I'm a big proponent of fondant smoothers, but you have to be very gentle over. I almost went down my fondant smoother while I was talking. So I'm a big fan of fondant smoothers. So, but here's the thing, you need 2. Clear. All right. So fondant smoothers, the reason why you need 2 is you put one on this side while you're smoothing, and so it just holds it in place while you're smoothing, because you can push your cake all the way around this table if you're not holding it, and if you use your fingers, you dent it. So fondant smoothers on the top makes it so nice. All right, now you have to be very gentle. Anywhere you have your rip, you may actually, if your cake is a little bit too warm, you may actually rip that open while you're doing your smoothing. So you have to just be very, very careful not to do that. Now, when I'm done with the smoothers, I come in and at an angle, catch the edge and twist my way in. And I'm holding the board now, so that if you have a ledge here, that it pulls it in. And you don't have a ledge anymore. All right. Okay, not my best work because I was chatting the whole time and it got dried out on me. All right, turkey. All right. So we've got them all covered, and now we're going to do the tail. So I have, and here's another trick. So this is a wet terracloth towel, and it's just damp. It's not like soppy. But I wanted to have all of my fondant rolled out already, just for the interest of time. And so we're going to do the feathers, and the terracloth towel is not directly on top of the fondant, but it's under 2 layers of saran wrap, so that it'll stay hydrated, waiting for us to use it. So I'm going to open this up, get my orange out. We'll just start with that one. And we should probably just do all of the colors all at once because we're going to be adhering them to the cake all at one time. So we got this guy, and then orange, yellow, and red. Nice fall colors. Alright, I'm not going to roll these in front of you because it just took a while. So, alright, so we've got orange, yellow, and red rolled out already. And then we gave you a template in your kit so you know about what size all of this needs to be. So this is the feather, and we actually have a cutter that is this size. I just traced it for you. You may have something else that might work instead because cutters are so much faster than doing it with a paring knife. You might have this guy, but if you don't have a cutter somewhere in this ballpark of shapes, what you can do is just cut this guy out, put it down on your fondant, and trace around it with a paring knife, and that'll work just fine. It'll take you a while, so you'll want to keep these guys covered while you cut one, and then cover those cut out pieces with saran wrap, 2 layers of saran wrap, damp towel, move on to this one and cut it, finish that, 2 layers of saran wrap, and then go on to this one so you have them all cut all at the same time. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut these out. All right, now I'm going to remove all of the extra in between. And I was thinking to myself as I did this, you know, I probably should have started with the yellow first because it's the lightest color, and if it got stuck on the cutter, then it wouldn't have made a difference because it goes to orange next, and yellow won't show up on orange, but orange will show up on yellow. Anyway, afterthought, you know? And that saying, hindsight's 20/20, right? Well, is that even true anymore? I don't even know. So I'm gonna tuck that in the saran wrap there, tuck that in the saran wrap there, and then I'm gonna get this extra. All right, now, okay, if you want to, you can use a little pastry brush for the glue, and the glue that we are going to use is water, okay? So we are going to find that little hole. Got another little rip here going on, but it's going to be on the side, and I don't think it's going to interfere with anything, so I'm just going to leave it because I don't want to I don't want it to make me crazy, which crazier than I already am. Okay, so when I do these, you're going to start at the top, and you don't want too much. So, right at the top and a little bit low, and you want to be sure it's going to stay. You want to use water all the way up to where the cake is, and I don't know if you saw me do this, but I kind of pinched it towards each other to give it a little bit of airspace in between, okay, so that it will stay taller. And then I'm going to use bit more water, work it. And I'm gonna actually just start putting some on. You know, it's kind of like eyelash glue. You put it on, you let it set for just a minute, and it becomes much, much more sticky than if you just did it outright. And I'm only getting, oh, I should probably show this. I'm only getting like the bottom part up to where it's going to be expected to stick to something else. And I'm gonna guess it's about 5, possibly 6 of each color. But I'm gonna guess about 5 to do a nice turkey tail. Now, might have been a little too much butter. So I don't like to use a whole lot of expensive tools on these videos. Definitely a pastry brush will work. If you want to just use the wet terra cloth towel that you took off the top, that would work too, as long as it was clean. Of course, it should have been clean before you put it on the saran wrap or use it anywhere near food, but you know, which mine was. That's just what I'm saying. Realizing I'm going out of frame here. And I'm just rubbing. Alright. I'm gonna put water on 6, even though I think it's only gonna take 5. Okay. Alrighty. Now, you just alternate your colors. And this first is going to be the lowest. This little dude doesn't want to stay on, so I'm going to take just a little. You don't want too much water. If you get too much water, it acts as a lubricant instead of a glue. Work it, girl. All right, got those guys. All right, now I'm going to go up. The next one's going to be a little bit higher. A little more fully, so all the way around. Huh, I got a little red on my hand. So all you have to do is take your wet, clean terra cloth and do that. And just rub it off. It's gone. These are a little tricky, but you know what? It's okay. It's just sugar. You will win. You will win. It's all good. All right, and then I'm gonna cut this little guy off right there. A nice finished edge. And there it is. All right. All right. Here we go. I'm probably gonna mess with this again, but anyway. Put that air pocket down in the middle. That's how you're gonna get them to stand up. Go. All right. Now. Sorry, sometimes I crack myself up with the little kid humor because I have a 9 and a 5-year-old, and so I just think it's kind of funny that there's a turkey rear end right there. Okay, so we've got the 2 balls. They are approximately about the same size. These are going to be the feet, and they're kind of oblong and quite puffy. So that's on your template, and then you can see where the 2 little toes poke in. So you're just going to take your spatula and you're going to, at an angle, poke in, and kind of roll up the top, and then smooth any harsh edges you have, because these should be puffy and rounded. Okay. So it's against the middle one is where my harshest edge is, but I'm just going to use my finger and kind of smooth that out. And then you want to push them back together, and that's what's really going to give you kind of the puffy look for his little feet. Alright, now we're going to make the little beak. So you're going to take your orange, you're going to peel off a little piece. You know, it's going to be puffy. You want it definitely be puffy, but not too big. So you've got your template here, something about, you know, yay big if you smash it down. Okay. Now we're going to work it a little bit. Mine's dried out a little, and so that's telling me I need to get the rest of mine in saran wrap so that it doesn't dry out. Okay. I'm going to work it a little bit so that it's not dry anymore. Here, turkey, so everybody can see. Round, round, round. Get all of the seams off of one side. All right, good. Now you're gonna pull it down to a point, just a little bit of a point, and use your thumb here. And this is kind of the shape you want, about that big. Okay, good. So we've got that guy. That size. Okay. Now you want a little bit of red. Work it. It's gotten a little bit dry too from being rolled out. Work it. Wake it back up. Roll. And this time you're only going to do a worm. Okay, now it's got a little bit of a buildup at the end, so you're going to push it back, roll here, make it kind of a neck, I guess. Roll it in your fingers to make it thinner on the bottom. Be a little bit thicker. And I think it's got just a little too much fondant, so I'm just going to pinch that off. Pull it to a point. Roll out any fingerprints. You don't want to be able to incriminate you from the fingerprints on your cake. I'm just kidding. Alright. So now we've got this little guy. Okay, looks like that. Alright, so we got these. Just gonna chill out right there. Okay, now we're gonna make the eyeballs. Now you want to be sure that you have all of the colored stuff off of your hands, because if you're working with white fondant, that white fondant is going to pull all of the color right off of your hand and into the fondant. So you don't want to be working with your red for the little gobble and then go onto your eyeballs without having wiped the fondant off of your hands, because you're going to mix that red into the white and then you're going to have pink eyeballs, and people will be like, well, it's a Colorado turkey, and then, you know, the whole thing just goes and goes. Alright, so you're going to take your white, roll it. I like to roll it into a ball so that I can get exactly even pieces. So you now have two halves. Roll that into a ball, roll that into a ball, and now you're just going to smash it. And I don't like to smash it on the template because it might stick to the paper. But it needs to be as big as that circle, so it's going to take just a little bit more. Smash, smash, smash. Make sure you keep it round. His eyeball is round. Got a little oblong there. Alright, take that. Yep, almost. I said I don't like to do it on the template, and it almost stuck on me. Alright, so now Smash this one. Now if you have a cutter, it's perfect. It's about an inch or so. Just hold your cutter up to the circle, see what size it needs to be. Alright, so now I got my eyeballs. Now I'm going to try to get them off the table with this guy. If you still have a piece of parchment would have been a good idea to put down before you make your eyeballs. So here's these. Okay, now I'm going to take the black. Again, halves. And I should mention that you should have enough white to make little bitty balls that go in the shine of the eyes. So don't use all of the white when you're making your eyeballs. Smash, round, smash, round. You want them big. Cute animals have big pupils. And that's why on the template the pupil is so big. Okay. Yep, definitely. This made a little out of circle with my fingernails, so I just went in and made it the right size. Take your expensive glue, just a little bit, y'all. You don't want too much. And if you did put too much down, take your paper towel, dot, dot. All right, got that, got that. And then a little bit more white. You're gonna make your little rounds. Pinch off a little piece and just make a little dot. Pinch off a little piece, make a little dot. Now you need one that's bigger and two that are smaller for each eyeball. So you need to make smaller ones. I got three. They're about equal size. These smaller ones. There you go. Make one more that's a little bit smaller and replace this one. Alright, so I'm going to take this one out. Take a little bit off. Make it smaller. Okay, so I'm going to take this out. Move this over to this eyeball. Okay, so we got one big one and two small ones. Good. Alright, now, instead of just trying to put the little bitty dot, you're going to make the whole top wet. Because you trying to put a small little dot of water on there to get your little ball of fondant to stick to, it's going to take forever. So you got your big one. And I like to do this before it's on turkey, because then you can twist the eyeball so that it's in the right orientation. Because sometimes if you put the little white highlight dots in there while it's on turkey, you end up making him cross-eyed or something. It's too funny. But I mean, sometimes that just makes things cute too. So cross-eyed turkey would be fine. And then I tap them down a little bit to make them flat and kind of mirror the shape of the other eyeball. Okay, so here's one. That's what you're looking for. Okay, all right. Turkey, 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 let's put you together. All right, here's turkey. Okay, so nose is first. Why nose first? Because it is right in the middle of the whole face, okay? Now, oh, that's a foot, nose. All right, so I'm gonna put a little bit of water, and it's super important because this is such a heavy piece not to use too much water. You use too much water, it's just lubricant. That is not good. Rub, rub, rub until it gets real sticky and tacky. And then front and center. And it's good to do the back first because then you have something to look at to put your nose on and get it front and center. Gobble too. All right. Eyeballs. Now remember, you need to put them looking in the same direction. Okay? If they're not looking in the same direction, people will have comments about your turkey, and it won't be how delicious it is either. So, all right. So I like to make mine looking off to the side like he's kind of up to something. So I'm going to take his little, and really, really close to the nose, but up a little bit. Okay? Take that little guy and just put him on. All right, so these need to align with those and look in the same direction. Really, really close. Oh, there he is. It's amazing how cakes turn out so much better as soon as you put the eyeballs on. And then even then, if you've got the eyeballs on and you don't have the pupils on yet, it totally looks like there's no soul in whatever it is you're doing until you get those pupils in. All right, feet. Feet, feet, feet. Make it sticky. Go round and round to make it sticky. All right, and since I have this little cracker here, I'm just gonna go bump. There he is. And then try to get the other foot on in the same exact place. Got the little spot there. All right, there's your turkey. So cute. I hope you have so much fun with this cake, and I hope it makes you just as happy as it makes us, because little turkey just causes so much joy and so much mischief, and we just love him to death. So, little turkey. And we forgot one final detail. And now he's complete. Turkey likes to cause trouble. He likes to run away sometimes. He likes to hang out in the back room with the minions for 5 days after the Rocky Mountain Bridal Show. Yeah, with the beers. Oh.